Hello, we're back.
Hey there. About time we got back to this. We've been gone for a couple of weeks, haven't we?
I know we've had a few weeks hiatus due to
Traveling
unbelievable
around, family
travel
stuff, yeah, all kinds of
for
stuff.
a month or so. And I think what's going on is that people see that the world has opened up, although it's a little,
Yeah, not a whole lot
arbitrary
going on. Yeah, it's not a
at,
whole lot going on.
yeah, at this point. But still, I think people want to get some time in, FaceTime,
Yeah,
before who knows what.
we'll try and
So,
get things going again.
yeah. But thanks for joining us. If you're listening live and if you're listening to the recording, thank you as well. We are Dave and Laura Butler of Work Life Consulting, and we provide customized individual, team, and organizational opportunities for communication, coaching, and development. So
Mhm.
today, in that same vein, we're going to be talking about what is meant by leadership style. And I think this gets, it's a nebulous term, but it's so poignant and important. And what your leadership style is as a leader says it all.
Well, when somebody says somebody's a good leader, what are they talking about? How would
Yeah,
you know it if you saw it? What does
right.
it look like? What makes somebody a good leader? What kind of style? What do we mean by leadership style?
Well, it was interesting. You and I were working on site with a team, and the leader said, "I feel like the traffic cop." And so I said, well, that it's all great to say that, but what does that really feel like? And what does it look like? And what do you, so it's just what you said. I think that's what the leadership style is meant. What's observable? What are some of the traits? And it's not one size fits all. So what we have uncovered in our work, it's not our creation. This was developed, years ago. Give a little history of when it all started with McClellan and the competency.
Yeah. Well, back in the 80s, late 80s, I think Dave McClellan, who was in Boston, I believe he was part of Sloan School, developed the idea of competencies. Then we didn't have competency based development before that. People just talked about skills and abilities and that kind of stuff. But competencies is sort of a next level on that, which combines skills and abilities and style and personality and all kinds of things. The idea of leadership competencies was then taken up by the Hay Group, which I think the founder of that was also David. I think it's David Hay, I believe. But he created what was then called the six management styles. And after about 2 or 3 years of that, when Dan Goleman came along with EQ, he became associated with David Hay. They all knew each other anyway up there in Boston area. And he took his EQ research and put it together with the six styles of management and called it the six styles of leadership. So it had an EQ base to it. It was more oriented towards managing the emotional intelligence of the organization.
Right.
And lo and behold, it was so popular. Korn Ferry, which is one of the world's largest development companies, bought up Goleman. So now it's evolved again and again and again, and it's sort of stayed with us all this time. And something that has stayed with us all this time is probably pretty valid. So,
Well, the other thing that I think is interesting that you'll see when we start to go through these slides that we've put together today is that some of the styles change by name, but the material and the competencies and the description is still the same. And it all comes from, I think, the merge of these components of emotional intelligence, which is Goleman, along with the styles and competencies, which are both. But is this book. So this book, which is the Leadership Styles Workbook, has been this same version for I don't know how long, and it is so powerful. The description of the styles, the ability for the individual, the coachee, to self-assess where they see. And then the other thing that I love about that book is that you have not only your own profile and your own description and your own style that you define, but what the situation is and how that might be a contrast to what your style is. So I'm working with a leader whose style is not that of, we'll see in a second, pace setter,
Mhm.
but the organizational culture
Mhm.
has a tendency to go that way.
Right.
So what we thought we'd do today is go through and share with you. Let me get this out of the way. We don't worry if you can't see this. That's fine. This is a snapshot of all 6 on one page, but we cover things like what the title is, what's the description of each one, what's the modus operandi, if you will, and what's the phrase. So we'll show you. We'll go through each one. And Dave, if you have anything you'd like to add as well as we go along, please do.
Well, the thing that I wanted to say is that what Goleman found in his research is it's not any one of these styles is the right style or the best style. The most powerful leadership is having all styles at your command and being able to use the style that's necessary in the situation. Or if you want to change the situation or the culture of the company, what style do you want to start using? Because it's called leader because people follow you. So,
and you'll see here the overall impact is an assessment of what this style provides, what it looks like, and 4 of them are positive. The visionary leadership just happens to be the most strongly positive, and 2 are negative. And the reason that they're included is that sometimes if the ship is heading towards Chernobyl, we better have a strong leader that says, turn left.
Yeah, now.
Now.
Immediately.
We can't be visionary about that. We have to think in the moment, really.
Right, but unfortunately, many people over the years have taken that commanding, coercive kind of style to be what leadership is, and it really is not that anymore. The 4 that are most positive EQ are the ones that are the most impactful long term.
Yeah, and the other piece to this that I always am reminded of is Jim Collins' article, Level 5 Leadership. So when he talks about 1, 2, 3, 4, there are several attributes in each one, but level 5 has 2, resolve and determination, and along with equally matched with humility. So I was talking with a leader about that a few days ago, and he said, it used to be that the leader who yelled, who forced, who pushed was respected. No longer. Especially today with what they're calling is for the Great Resignation is now the Great Retainment.
Yeah, if you're going to yell at me, I don't think I'll stick around here.
I'm gone. Bye-bye. But visionary leadership style is mobilize people. That's really what we want to do when we have a leader who's got that style. Come with me is the phrase. And the competencies that the leader develops and seems to exhibit is more empathy, the ability to build relationships and enhance communication. So it works best when when a clear direction is in place, when that's needed and there's a nonprofit organization I've been working with, and the ability to find a leader who can help is so important with a clear direction.
Well, I like where it says it works best when changes are required.
Yeah.
We need a new vision. We've got to renew, refresh. We've got to get ourselves out of the doldrums and overcome the inertia.
Exactly.
And moving in a new direction.
And then another positive style is affiliative. So you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, affiliative, the modus operandi, the MO is it creates harmony and builds emotional bonds. And affiliation means it build the team. So this is the leader who says, my people come first. The EQ competencies that are involved are self-confidence, empathy, change catalyst, and it works best when we need to get a team to motivate people in the team to get through stressful circumstances. So you could say a short way of saying this with the affiliative style is the team builder.
Yeah. And that's why you can start to see how important it is for leaders to acquire all of these competencies.
Yeah, maybe you start with the vision of a new place, but eventually you got to start going to team building.
Exactly. And then we have participative, also known as democratic. And I think participative is asking the questions, have that arsenal of questions in place. What do you think?
Yeah.
It's not just, this is the way I see it.
Right.
It's the leader having the ability to bring people in to the conversation and forge consensus. It's not always required that we reach consensus, but in some situations it is.
We want to at least be heading towards consensus, even if it means not everybody's going to get what they want, but at least they feel like they've been heard.
And the competencies would be collaboration and team leadership and overall communication. So the great retainment phrase again. This is to get input from valuable employees. So how do we do that? How do we, how does that leader create those conversations? And I think it's just that, creating conversations. What do you think? Not have everything, if you look at get her done, it's not there. It's the steps that get her done.
Right. And there's a big difference between everybody having a chance to weigh in and rather than just being told.
Exactly. And by the way, if you're listening to the recording or listening live at this point, we are Dave and Laura Butler of Work Life Consulting. We're talking about styles of leadership and what does it actually mean and what are the definitions of the styles. Mm-hmm. We provide leadership development, coaching for individuals, teams, and organizations. Mm-hmm. So another positive is coaching.
My favorite. So the modus operandi here is you develop people for the future. This isn't about fixing people. It's about helping people develop for the future challenges. The style and the phrase is, try this. Why don't we try this? Let's try it this way and learn and grow. This is why this is so important. The EQ competencies are developing others, empathy, self-awareness. And it works best to help employees improve their performance or develop long-term strengths. And we have a client right now that's thinking about the future and trying to say, it's hard enough to find people to work today. What am I going to do to make sure I have enough people for tomorrow? And the talent issues are looming large right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think this also speaks to the future state in terms of, it goes nicely with the visionary style because we're talking about learning, growing, and developing ongoing. It doesn't stop.
Yeah, we're going somewhere. We're not just standing still.
It's the future. So then we go into two that are not as positive, but are sometimes necessary. So look at this one: directive leadership, aka coercive, aka commanding. It's almost like put the word of choice in here.
Sure.
Yeah. But it does, the immediacy is what we need to focus on here. Right. There are situations that demand this immediate compliance and requires do what I tell you. If the building's burning down.
Well, the old phrase was don't ask why, just do or die.
That's right. And sometimes that's necessary. Not not in developing others, but certainly in when we need to get something done.
It's about drive too. It's a drive to achieve. We've got to get the books closed by the end of the month. Yeah. We got to get this project off the floor. We got new stuff coming in. Let's go. And get in there and drive things, but it doesn't always work.
Right. But it's a kickstart, a turnaround. I think that book, Turn the Ship Around, that workbook is a perfect example of when this style would be in place.
And this is one of the styles that's easiest to overuse. That's why the overall impact is negative when it gets overused. Pretty soon, nobody wants to say anything. Nobody wants to ask any questions. Nobody's involved. They're just waiting to be told what to do.
Yeah, exactly. And then the last one, which is another negative, is pace setting. Mm-hmm. And so this is when you look at the higher standards for performance and kind of using yourself as a leader, as the model. Mm-hmm. But it isn't do as I now, and we'll get to it. It's now. There's an urgency. There's a sense of urgency.
That's what I thought you made a good point with the traffic cop when we were in that meeting, and you said, well, why do you think why are you standing in the middle of the road? You don't have to be a traffic cop. Get out of the middle of the road.
You might want to move. Step to the right or left. Exactly. But conscientious would be the competencies here, and driving to achieve for sure, and taking initiative. And we need this. It works best to get quick results from a team that's also embracing that kind of urgency.
Right.
But it is a negative. And, we've seen in our work that, these are situations where people are just busy.
Well, they're burned out too usually
Yeah,
because the pace setting drives, and whoa. Being able to step back and take a look at where we're going.
exactly. So
Mm.
but I think the takeaway in the closing of what we're talking about today is, as we started, this is going to be extremely important as the world continues to
Correct.
evolve.
Correct.
So
Everybody's usually good at one or two of them already. It's like their natural style. But having the ability, and through the coaching and the programs that we do, to learn all four of the positive styles, especially
mhm.
that's what the research has shown. That it's not any one style. It's being able to have this right style for the right moment to get
Yeah,
the right thing done.
what we work with our the leaders that we help using this format is we also link the Berkman assessment to it, so you can see
Right.
with the profile that you've created over the years, is you can see what are what do you look at with most leaders, and what's the gap.
Right.
What can we all learn and grow from, and see, oh, this is something that I could do less of or more of.
And what do we need to get to that future that we're all hoping to get to?
That's right. So always great to have these conversations. Thank you for joining us.
Glad we're back.
What's that?
I'm glad we're back. I miss these conversations too.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. Please let us know what you think your leadership style is, and if there's something in that style that you see based on our conversation that you'd like to learn more about yourself. Let us know. You can go to the website, which is on the bottom here, take a quiz, and just reach out to us online, wherever you can find us, which is online.
Yeah.
So see you next week. Thanks for listening.
Bye.